Gold price extends the range play, holds above $2,500 as traders await FOMC minutes. Geopolitical tensions further contributed to driving flows towards the safe haven XAU-USD. Bulls take a pause and await more cues about the Fed's rate cut path before placing fresh bets. Gold price, XAU-USD, extends its sideways consolidative price move above the $2,500 psychological mark heading into the European session on Wednesday, and remains well within the striking distance of the record higher touched the previous day. Investors seem convinced that the Federal Reserve will start its policy easing cycle and announce 25 basis points in September. Apart from this, geopolitical risks, China's economic woes and a slight deterioration in the global risk sentiment act as a tailwind for the safe haven commodity. That said, a modest US dollar recovery from its lowest level since January touched on Tuesday, along with hopes for a ceasefire in Gaza, keeps a lid on any meaningful upside for the gold price. Investors also seem reluctant and prefer to wait on the sidelines ahead of the release of the July FOMC meeting minutes. Apart from this, Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium on Friday will be scrutinized for cues about the U.S. central bank's policy path. Nevertheless, the fundamental backdrop seems tilted firmly in favor of bullish traders. Daily Digest. Market movers. Gold price remains well supported by Fed rate cut bets and geopolitical risks. Bets for an imminent start of the Federal Reserve's rate-cutting cycle in September have put the U.S. Treasury bond yields and the U.S. dollar under pressure, which in turn lifted the gold price to a fresh record high on Tuesday. According to the CME Group's FedWatch tool, the markets are currently pricing in just over a 70% chance that the U.S. Central Bank will lower borrowing costs by 25 basis points at the September FOMC monetary policy meeting. Moreover, a Reuters poll indicated that a slim majority of economists expect that the Fed will cut interest rates by 25 basis points at each of the remaining 3 meetings of 2024, one more rate reduction than predicted last month. Fed Governor Michelle Bowman tried to temper expectations of a near-term rate cut and said that despite the recent progress, price growth levels remain well elevated and still uncomfortably above the central bank's 2% goal. The People's Bank of China granted new gold import quotas to several Chinese banks last week in anticipation of reviving demand, suggesting that another Chinese gold buying spree could be on the horizon. Furthermore, holdings of Spider Gold Trust, the world's largest gold-backed exchange-traded fund, jumped to their highest in 7 months at 859 tons on Monday, and pointed to improving financial investment demand. Meanwhile, geopolitical concerns, particularly in the Middle East and a potential ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, keep investors on edge and turn out to be another factor underpinning the safe haven XAU-USD. Traders, however, turn cautious ahead of the release of the July FOMC meeting minutes later this Wednesday, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech on Friday, which will be looked for cues about the future policy path. Technical analysis. Gold price could attract dip buying and find support near the $2,480 resistance breakpoint. Moreover, oscillators on the daily chart are holding comfortably in positive territory and are still away from being in the overbought zone. Hence, any meaningful pullback might still be seen as a buying opportunity near the $2,500 round figure, which should help the downside for the gold price near the $2,480 resistance breakpoint. Some follow-through selling, however, could drag the XAU-USD towards the $2,455 to $2,453 horizontal support en route to the $2,430 region.